Okay, we're playing a 3,000 point meeting engagement. It's vampire counts, but we're using the Undead Legion rules for the general versus Skaven, and they've got some end time units potentially. So I'll start off just showing you what's deployed on my army line. Got 3 Varghiests, 5 direwolves, 4 blood knights. Back here there's some zombies, Terrorgheist. That's 8 black knights at Wight King and level 2 Necromancer. More zombies back there. Skeletons there. 40 ghouls. 3 more Vargheists and 5 more direwolves. Now the reason I put these units back here is to hopefully discourage Stormfiends. I don't know how much discouragement they'll provide, but I've never faced them before, so that's the thinking behind that. And you haven't deployed your Stormfiend count.
No.
Need to put that down. So yeah, we'll just go over the Skaven deployment after the Stormfiend counter is down. Before we go on to Skaven, I'll just mention, obviously meeting engagement, you roll for each unit. And my general on Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon rolled a 1, so he's not on the board. And my other Terrorgheist also rolled a 1, so I've got those to come on. So Skaven deployment, the Stormfiend counter has gone there behind the ghouls, which is probably a good position to put it, I think. But it's kept them at least fairly far away from my other units. Then we've got Hellpit Abomination, some Poison Wind Globadiers and a Poison Wind Mortar, 50 Plague Monks with a Plague Furnace, and obviously Plague Priest on that, 33 Clan Rats with Spears, I guess. Have you given them spears? Or spears and shields. Another Poison Wind Mortar, a cannon, 4-bar cannon, and all the way over here is a Doom Wheel, opposite the Vargheists there. And in a quite amusing twist, his General's unit, which is a Screaming Bell unit, also hasn't come on, so neither of our Generals on the board. And what was the other thing that didn't come on?
Just 30 Clan Rats.
Just 30 Clan Rats. Right, so we now roll to see who gets first turn. So Vampire's got the first turn. I'll go over the movement. The direwolves moved up in front of the Doom Wheel. Move the Vargheists around, and hopefully if the Doom Wheel chooses to go across the terrain, it's going to be closer to the Vargheists, not the Blood Knights. Terrorgheist moved up, he's out the front arc of the Plague Monks, and he's just in range to scream at the unit, but he couldn't reach the Plague Furnace that was deployed deliberately more than 18 inches away. And obviously because my General's not on the board, no one can march. My Necromancer's unit couldn't advance too much because otherwise the Plague Monks could charge them. But because of the terrain and the Terrorgheists in the way, they're safe there. Zombies at the back just moved round and they're at the bottom of the hill. Ghouls have stayed put. These skeletons have turned to face the marker for the Stormfiends, and the Vargheists have flown back. So when the Stormfiends come in, as long as they don't charge anyone in combat, I might be able to do something about them, potentially. And these direwolves have just gone up in front of the Hellpit. In the magic phase, it was 4 power dice, 2 dispel dice, and I cast Curse of Years on the Plague Monks unit, killing, how many is that? 6?
6.
And they've got magic resistance 2 from the furnace, so that spell is now on that unit. And in the shooting phase, the Terrorgheist only rolled a 5, so we killed 2 more Plague Monks. And that's the end of Vampire's turn 1. Okay, so Skaven turn 1, movement, the Doom Wheel moved across this dangerous terrain marsh, didn't take any wounds, and it's in front of the Vargheists. These Skaven Clan Rats at the back backed up, and the Plague Monks didn't charge didn't charge the ghouls, they just sort of reformed and to look like that, moved back a bit. Hellpit Abomination charged the Doom Direwolves. What else is there? No other movement. And in the magic phase, he just dispelled Curse of Years on the Plague Monks. There wasn't really anything else useful to cast. So in Skaven shooting phase, the Doom Wheel got strength, I think it was strength 8, wasn't it, against the Vargheists. It killed 2 of them and only did 1 wound to the remaining one. The Poison Wind Mortars both scattered off and didn't do anything. I think one of them hit the Terrorgeist but didn't wound it. And the cannon shot at the Terrorgeist, hit the Terrorgeist and wounded, but I made my 6+ regen save, and the blast explosion killed one Black Knight, but that was it. So that was very lucky for the Terrorgheists there. And that was all the shooting, wasn't it? And second big shock of the turn, the Help Nation slaughters the vicious undead Doom Wolves and is now free to move about. So vampire counts turn 2. My general came on the board and moved up 10. And my second Terrorgeist came on and moved to be close to the Doom Wheel. These wolves just march around the side. This Terrorgeist can now march because it was near to the general and it moved up to near the cannon, out the front arc of those clan rats. Blood Knights moved up. These Black Knights just moved to the side, not a bit troubled as to what to do with them because I don't want them to die without achieving anything, and they can't really do anything, so they moved to the side. Zombies shuffled round. These zombies came down from the hill in case the Stormfiends try and walk round this way. I don't know if they would do that, but the ghouls backed up. Varghiests shuffled round a bit. Skeletons stayed put. And that's movement, so it's onto magic. In my magic phase, it was 4 power dice versus 3 dispel dice. Tried to cast Curse of Years and just rolled badly and it didn't go off. But fortunately, my luck changed in the shooting phase. This Terrorgeist rolled an 11 and caused like 10 wounds on the Doom Wheel and killed it outright. And this Terrorgeist rolled pretty well and killed the cannon as well. So now it's Skaven turn 2, and we get to find out if the Stormfiends are coming on, represented by this little rat model at the moment. So Skaven start turn 2 after movement. The Plague Monks have finally plucked up some courage and started to move forwards towards those knights. His general's unit, which is that Scream Bell, look how awesome that looks with the Plague Furnace there. That's come on the board now, and also the BSB, and is that 30 clan rats with spears? Yeah. And the Poison Wind Globadiers move round towards the Blood Knights. And these are the Stormfiends that have come on. They hit, so they came on in the middle of this piece of terrain, and they just use their movement to move back because they're skirmishers. So they can't be charged with anyone there, and they can shoot anything they like now. So magic phase was a double one, so he used a warpstone token and 2 dice to cast Scorch on the ghouls, and I didn't dispel it because I only had 1 dice, and killed 10 ghouls. So the Stormfiends are going to shoot at the ghouls, and they rolled 30 shots, so they're going to roll to hit now, and they hit on 4+.
It's not that great.
Could have been better. They now wound on a 3+ rerollable though, which is the scary part.
I'll play 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 4. Oh, exactly half.
Half.
So,
well, yeah, so
4+ with rerolls. No, 3+
3+
rerolls.
with rerolls. So
Take the wound
pretty
out.
good roll. Only 4 don't wound. So 1, so 14 dead. Okay, so that's 14 ghouls dying. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, well, they're a pretty scary unit. So I'll now spend the next half hour removing some ghouls. And in the rest of the shooting phase, a Poison Wind Mortar aimed at the Blood Knights and killed 2. And then the Globadiers hit on 6s, and there's 5 of them. Got 2 hits, needed 4+ to kill, and they killed the remaining 2 Blood Knights. So there's that unit's dead now, and I can't bring them back. So that's a really good shooting phase for Skaven. Neutralised that unit of ghouls completely with them now, and killed a 200-point unit of Blood Knights. Okay, Vampires turn 3 movement. My general's still being very cautious. I can't advance too far over to this flank because of the Stormfiends, so I've moved my Terrorgheists up with help from the general to allow them to march, or allow one of them to march, and they're in range to scream at the furnace. My knights have sort of roughly stayed still, but everyone's protected from the Plague Monks by this lone surviving Vargheist. These other units can move like 4 inches each, so they're just shuffling around. deliberated for a long time over what to do with the ghouls. In the end, I sort of backed them up so the helpet can't make it into their flank. And the Varghiests flew in front of them to threaten over here. So now it's going to be at least the helpet can't charge the ghouls, and then the Stormfiends shoot the Vargheists and kill both. It's going to have to be a choice. Although the helpet could roll well enough to get into the Vargheists, but we'll see what happens. So magic was another pointless phase. Basically 6 power dice versus 3 dispel dice. Got a good roll on Curse of Years, and that was dispel scrolled. And then with my remaining dice I cast Raise Dead, but that was then dispelled with the dispel dice. So on to shooting. In the shooting phase, this Terrorgheist here did enough wounds to kill the furnace. Terrorgheist over here didn't do as well, but it took, caused 1 wound onto the Grey Seer, and the bell warded both the wounds that it took. And so it's just combat now.
The hellish figure and the other one, that's until the cast magic phase, is it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Right,
But
the easy one
far more important than that is these 2 combats over here.
Yeah.
And it was a good job that the priest used his dispel scroll just now, because they're both Terrorgheists shot at the plague furnace, and they did well. They didn't roll badly, and they killed the plague priest, but I just rolled too many 5+s, and so the priest got loads of overkill wounds, and the furnace is still alive with 2 wounds remaining. And that's all my shooting, so it's on to vampires now. On to Skaven now, sorry. So Skaven turn 3 movement. The Globadiers move around to the flank of the Terrorgheist. That unit stays still, and I think they move forward, did they?
Yeah.
BSB unit stays still.
No, they moved up.
They moved up a bit.
Yeah.
The Plague Furnace unit charged that Vargheist. They moved slightly, I think, and then the Helpit. Oh yes, the Helpit rolled. Only needed like 12 to get in on them. I think was it 12, 13?
It needed 13. I got 13.
Which, yeah, so
it's ironic. It's Skaven.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that wasn't exactly far for it to go, so I should have realised that. And that's all the movement, and then magic phase, nothing happened. Warp lightning was cast on the Terrorgheist, and that did no wounds. And then the Gracie tried to dreaded 13th the ghouls, but it failed to cast. Skaven turn 3 shooting phase. A wound was caused to one of the Terrorgheists with the poison mortars. Another mortar hit my Black Knights, but it got a misfire, and I was able to place it onto the Plague Monks, and it killed 2. Because one of the misfire rolls is that the opponent can place the template, which is pretty cool. And the only other shooting was the Stormfiends, and they were a bit poorer this time. They only killed 6 ghouls, which is actually a bit annoying for me, because if they killed 3 more, my ghouls would be able to get flank charge on the Helpit, maybe do a few wounds to it, and as it stands at the moment, they cannot. Oh, actually thinking about it, those Vargheists will probably be dead, so they can next turn.
Yeah, but I'll overrun.
Yeah.
It was a flank charge into a Helpit development, really.
And 3d6 overrun as well. So, alright, so on to combat. And in combat, unsurprisingly, the Helpit slaughters the Vargheists with its flank charge. Well, it would slaughter them with any charge, really, wouldn't it? But it did take a wound, though, before it killed them. Or rather, at the same time as it killed them, I think. In the other combat, obviously, this unit destroyed the Vargheist, and I realised I'd miscalculated the position of my Black Knights, because they killed him and overran, and they just about clipped my Black Knight unit, so I'll be taking a charge from them next turn, but we do the combat next turn. And that's the end of Skaven turn 3. Yep. So Vampires turn 4 movement. The direwolves move around to the flank of the Globadiers. This Terrorgeist flew behind the bell. My Vampire Lord charged into the flank of the Plague Monks, and this Terrorgeist flew to the front but hasn't charged them. Oh, he was over there before, so he's flown over here. These zombies just milled around. I've got no idea what I'm doing with them. The ghouls did a flank charge on the Helpit. I mean, they're not going to do anything in this battle. They're a dead unit, so I might as well try and take a couple of wounds off him. And the skeletons charged the Stormfiends, and they lost 7 from Sand and Shoot, and they made their charge. They needed a 6, I think. So they're in there, and that's all my movement. So my magic phase, I started off with an innocent little 2 dice Van Hells on myself to get the dragon rerolls to hit, and also mainly just a low cast spell to heal, low casting value, so I can heal a wound on that Terrorgheist. So I rolled 2 dice, and there's the dice. So I'm now going to roll on the miscast table. So let's see what I get. And 8. So what's that?
The wizard and every model on the same side has a strength 10 hit and d6 dice lost from the pool.
D6 dice lost. That's what I didn't want. Okay. Right, so the vampire takes a strength 10 hit.
Strength 6 hit.
Strength 6?
Yeah.
Oh, wounds. Okay. I'm going to have to look at what he's got, so it's going to take me a while because I can't remember what items he's got. So I'll come back to you at the end of the magic phase. Okay, so it's the end of my magic phase. I then tried to cast Raise Dead, and that was dispelled because I got a rubbish roll. And my final spell was Hellish Vigour on myself because I just know I'm going to roll loads of wands. So the Vampire Lord cast Hellish Vigour on himself, and 3 dice, there's a roll. So that's another miscast. This time, well, from the previous miscast, my Necromancer took a wound, although that's now back because I cast another spell. And the Vampire Lord didn't suffer any, and the second miscast I killed 3 Plague Monks with the magical damage and didn't take any ill effects. So yeah, just ridiculous really, but yeah, he's pretty nasty now. Rerolls to hit and wound. And on to shooting. In the shooting phase, this Terrorgheist here did enough wounds to kill the Furnace. Terrorgheist over here didn't do as well, but it took, caused 1 wound onto the Grey Seer, and the bell warded both the wounds that it took. And so it's just combat now.
The Hellish Figure and the other one, that's until the cast magic phase, is it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Right,
But more, far more important than that is these 2 combats over here.
Yeah.
So we're partway through the combat phase, and the Hell Pit killed all the ghouls without taking any wounds, so I got no 6s of poison, no 6s to wound. And in this combat I lost 4 because I parried 3. They've yet to stomp. I rolled my attacks and got, how many hits? 6 hits. There's my wound roll. 1 wound, so I'm glad to get a wound through, and 5 wounds. So 1 wound, what's your armour save?
4+.
Oh right, so it hits that guy first, doesn't it?
Yep.
I think, yeah. So yeah, he saved it, okay. So you get your stomps now.
Yep.
So
2+ to kill.
Yeah.
2 more.
2 more. So you killed 6. I think you killed 4. The other one. 4 with your attacks because I parried 3.
Yeah.
So I charge, so you win by 5.
Yep.
So 5 more die. So there's like 2 left. So that's exactly what I was hoping actually. So at least next turn you can't shoot with that unit and they're stuck there. So in this combat I killed quite a lot of Plague Monks, as you can see. I lost my Necromancer, who had a lot of attacks directed against him, and only 2 Black Knights died. Did quite well in the armor slaves. So obviously I won combat by miles, but they're steadfast leadership 10 because of the Grey Seer. So yeah, they passed their test, and that's the end of the turn. So Skaven magic phase, the Grey Seer cast Dreaded 13th and killed 9 zombies, which is a bit of a risk because he miscast. He used also used a warpstone token. He took a wound from that, but he didn't take any wounds from the miscast. So he's got 1 wound left. He took 1 earlier from the Terrorgheist, and lost a dice as well. So no other spells were cast. Shooting phase, Globally has killed 1 dog or wolf. This mortar hit and killed a few zombies, and this Terrorgheist was hit, but it wasn't wounded by mortar. I don't think I actually did a summary of the Skaven movement phase, but this is Skaven turn 4. Globally is moved in front of the dogs. Screaming Bell moved up. So I've just done a summary of magic, but I don't think I did movement. These kind of moved round, and then the Hell Pit charge into these zombies. So I've done magic, done shooting, and in the combat phase, they obviously killed 2 skeletons, and the Hell Pit got 18 attacks against the zombies, It killed some with its impact hits, killed 4 already, so it's probably just going to wipe them out, literally kill every single zombie with its claws and fists.
They're all misses.
Oh yeah, it's not great hit roll.
Rubbish hit roll.
It hits on 3s and you've got half of them on 1s and 2s or more. It's going to crumble.
2+. Yeah, so
Yeah.
3, 6, 7, 8.
So you've killed 12, so I get 8 attacks back. I'll come back to you after this combat. After this combat, I killed, well, a lot of plague monks. I mean, I could have rolled better actually, but I still killed a lot. They didn't do anything because of my 2+ armour, and they're not rerolling to hit and wound because of plague mana now, so that's nice. They're not steadfast, so they have the same number of ranks as my Black Knights. So they broke, and there's a flee roll, and the Skaven get +1 on the flee roll, so they fled 13 inches, a number which has come up a lot in this game, funnily enough, against Skaven. And that means I literally can't catch them even if I roll 12. So they're going to flee that way.
Yeah.
So the Plague Monks bounced through that unit clan rats, and I elected to pursue with both, obviously, before I knew the roll, or I would have done that. So I pursue with both, and my Lord makes it into this unit, and the Black Knights don't quite make it. So Vampires turn 5 now. So Vampires turn 5, the dogs charge. They're in combat. Well, the vampire overran the previous turn, and this unit charges. Terrorgheist deliberated for ages what to do with him, and in the end I thought just take a pot shot at the bell. I mean, he might die next turn. This Terrorgheist charged the Plague Monks who survived last turn, just about caught them when they fled and landed there, and can actually shoot at them. So magic. So the magic, it was 5 power knights versus 3, and I got both spells off because Skaven rolled poorly on the dispel. Or in fact, they were helped just by 1, I think. So I got raised dead and raised some zombies there, so protecting the Terrorgeist and the Vampire Lord. And then Invocation restored like 4 Black Knights, so that unit's at full strength minus a Necromancer now. So in shooting phase, this Terrorgeist was in range to shoot at the Stormfiends, but it didn't roll very well. It did 2 wounds to 1 Stormfiend, so not enough to panic them, which is what I'd hoped. So he's in for a world of hurt next turn. And the other one did better. It caused 3 wounds to the Scream Bell and robbed the Grey Seer of his last wound, but the Bell warded its wounds again. So the Grey Seer is dead, but the Bell survives. So in the combat phase, 1 wolf died and 1 globalier died, so the wolves won but the globalier stuck. And over here with the dragon and the wights versus the clan rats, my Wight King took a wound from his BSB and caused a wound. My champion died in a challenge because I rolled 1 on the arm save. And they obviously killed quite a lot, but they're steadfast and they passed their test. Steadfast leadership 10. So Skaven turn 5 now. So Skaven turn 5 movement. This unit clan rats moved up. The Bell unit charged these zombies. I don't know what I was thinking really, because I think I was just ignoring this massive base of the of the Vampire Lord, because obviously they charged zombies, but they couldn't wheel because of the base, so they just basically I closed the door. So if they kill the zombies and overrun, they may make it to Terrorgeist. However, it's better than definitely facing a charge from them next turn, so at least there's a chance they won't make the overrun. Hellpit Abomination makes it into the Terrorgeist, and these guys move around to shoot at zombies. And in the magic phase, Skaven have no magic now since Grace is dead, but the bell rings out and it rolls an 8, I think, which is all friendly Skaven in 24 inches re-roll leadership tests. Skaven shooting phase and combined fire from the Poison Wind Mortar, is it called?
Yeah.
And the Stormfiends kills zombies who are no longer there.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I don't know what those are. So end of Skaven turn 5 combat. Okay, and these guys lost combat. They lost another guy and they didn't kill any wolves. They like leadership 4, but they made their leadership test. I killed all but about 2 or 3 of these clan rats and I killed the BSB with Killing Blow. Caught them and overran to there. The Hellpit Abomination absolutely brutalised the Terrorgheists in combat. I mean, it was quite horrific to watch, actually. It was quite distressing. And that was all the combat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's my last turn now. And what my options, these guys can't actually charge anything. Unfortunately. This guy might be able to kill the bell. If not, I don't get the points for the Grey Seer or the bell. I mean, they can't really do anything. I haven't really got any spells of any use. So I'll see at the end of movement. So movement didn't take very long for once for me. The Vampire Lord obviously just has to get... he can't charge anything, so he has to get away from these Stormfiends. So he's flown all the way over there. Unfortunately, the Black Knights couldn't have moved with him being where he was. So he's moved away and now they can't march. They couldn't get... basically, if they turned around, they couldn't get more than like 9 inches from the Hellpit Abomination, which it probably wouldn't make that. So best thing to do is just turn to face it. And that's all I've got really, and the Terrorgheist is there. Probably going to die this turn. So on to magic. Yeah, so in the magic phase, I mean, there's nothing I can really do of use. I did R afterwards, but I moved the Vampire Lord over there, so he was definitely safe from the Stormfiends. I always pause for their names, so I can never remember it. So I sort of buffed the wolves up with like rerolls to hit and wound to hopefully just get a few more points from this unit. But obviously my invocation on them was dispelled, and these goblins ended up winning combat. Oh, I think it just killed all the wolves, yeah. And I think it killed one and then it crumbled. In this combat, I mean, bear in mind last turn, this Screaming Bell unit killed 4 zombies in combat. So I wasn't actually too worried about the Terrorgeist, and true enough, they charged it, did no wounds to it. I killed 6 with Thunderstomp. I tried to scream the bell in the shooting bays, but I didn't do anything to it. So I lost by 1 because of the musician, and he's got the war banner, so I've taken a wound. And now it's the last turn, on to Skaven turn 6. Okay, so it's the end of Skaven turn 6, so basically in the movement phase, these guys got charged by the Hellpit. That was it. Well, that was it, yeah. So obviously nothing happened over here. These guys did kill the Terrorgeist. I directed some attacks against the bell in a vain attempt to kill it, but never did anything to it. And in this combat, it didn't go so well for the Hellpit. We ended up in a draw, and I don't have a musician for that unit. I lost like a wound on my BSB, 2 knights died, and I did a couple of wounds back to him. So that is the end of the game, so we'll total up the points. Okay, so we've totaled up the points, and Vampire Counts scored 1,543. Skaven scored 1,842, so it's a victory for the Skaven. And a very interesting battle as well. So now we have a lot of rats and zombies to back up. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.